probably. And I don't believe in nonsense like love at first sight. The idea of getting together with someone through a matchmaker doesn't sound very hard to justify. Besides, if I don't like whoever she picks, I can always just say no.
And then they don't allow you to.
So I asked,
Sorry.
do you have someone in mind? She seemed pretty taken aback by that. My parents, not so much. They didn't say anything. The bottom line is, it seems I now have a marriage interview with a Mr. Payan at some point next month.
What's with arranged marriages?
Well, this is Korea, so it's kind of a regular thing. Apparently, he's very sweet, dresses handsomely, and works as a cook for a living. Those all sound like good things to me. Although, I worry about what sort of man would resort to matchmaking. Well, I'm not one to talk. I think it's going to be fairly weird, but I'm looking forward to it. So let's see what Mr. Payan looks like. I guess not bad for a guy. For a Korean guy.
He looks like a jerk to me.
Let's see what her grandmother looks like. Who her grandmother married. Let's see.
Grandmother.
My grandmother. Figures. Grandfather.
Figures they do something.
Yeah, no.
Old people just don't get photos. I'm sorry. If
Right.
you're old, you're not getting a photo in the future.
Let's have you read the curious word. It's another quick
Curious
one.
word?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Kim So-yi.
I just finished up the math stuff, and I thought I pulled it out earlier. Anyways, apartment status. Just moved in. Perfectly clean closet full of brand new cushions and items.
And linens.
Cupboards full of spotless
Linens?
dishes.
How the fuck do you fuck up linens with items?
Sorry, I couldn't see it, like when it's blurred.
Dishes, bed is made, husband's insistence, husband.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna read from perfectly... Okay.
She did marry Mr. Peon.
Oh, wow.
Peon.
Okay. Oh god, peons. And linens... Okay, so, husband. What a curious word. I don't think I will ever get used to it. Used to the idea, I mean... It's only been a day, but fiancé sounded just as curious to me too, and I don't like things are. I don't feel
like
things are really any different.
You don't have to read this fast, you know.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to read it before the blur comes up. As stated, the wedding was today. My mother insisted on having a big formal affair of it. Certainly not in my interests, but my only condition was that I was to have no part in the planning. It seemed to make both her and Nae Moon happy. I begrudgingly dealt with the stuffy tradition clothing for her sake. After all, without her matchmaking, I never would have been married to begin with.
Okay.
It was... Okay, you're seriously going...
Her and Nae Moon happy. So Nae Moon is also him? For some reason it opened up the same picture, I don't know. I'm just saying.
They all are the same person.
Shut up, just read.
They all look the same.
They're all the same Asian person.
Oh god. Could you imagine that?
That would explain so much. Just keep reading.
It was evidently in my best interest, though after the ceremony concluded, I had another chance to converse with my grandfather, and after an entirely accidental slip of the tongue about my disgusting boss, drinking was a factor. I must confess I am unused to how free it seems to make my tongue. I found myself with a promise of promotion to technical specialist. Even for a wedding present, that was a tremendous gesture. I'm intensely looking forward to going back to work now. Finally, freedom from the embarrassment of cleaning ashes and the ability to perform research. Oh, yes, research!
Just read.
I will, of course, not be given my own assistance from the start, but it is still a huge step up. What else happened? Conversation. Yet you really just scrolled that far ahead.
Just keep. Okay, go.
Really? Will's conversation with parents about moving out was emotional on their part, but largely unremarkable. They will cope, still feel like this new home is too large for me. But it would be a lie to suggest that I don't love it. Having space for just the two of us, particularly free of awkward silence requirements in the bedroom, is as great as I'd hoped. Past that, busy day, but a little else worth noting. Naked husband is seemingly reading over my shoulder right now. Still doing it. Hasn't stopped yet. Yes, knock it off. Husband now mocking the very concept of post-coital diary reading.
Diary writing.
What?
Not reading. You said reading.
Writing. Okay. That's really weird. Okay, seemingly he does not want me to fall asleep with me showing any matter of affection to him. Possibly even interested in sleeping on futon in the other room. Okay, where is the grammar? Now, expressing an unacceptably sincere level of an apology, still insufficient. You will have to do better than that, husband, if you want to file ends abruptly. Oh my.
Oh. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh my. The research problem.
Okay, that's yours.
Apartment status. No time to make the bed this morning. Otherwise spotless. Dishes need to be washed. Mr. Han finally responded to my message. This is Mr. Han.
Asian version. Asian Solo.
Oh
god.
I had been so excited to have him assigned to me as a research assistant. Certainly, the help was well deserved after my recent overburdened workload, or at least my estimation. I have considered the possibility the research chief's intentions were not good in doing so. Research chief, no one on file. It seems unlikely, however, despite his remarks on the perilousness of my situation, it seems as though he is earnestly grateful for my work. And he didn't assign Han to me until I specifically outlined the preliminary research proposal into the radiation problem. So I must believe that he truly did think the research was worth pursuing, and that I would require assistance for it, and nothing more. I certainly was optimistic for the first week I worked with Han. He seemed receptive to my proposal, and having overviewed some of his prior work...
What? Sorry, I'm reading
I don't know.
Q&A.
I'd like it if someone touched me like that. Okay.
I'm reading Q&A.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to competent though during one of the research... Oh, you know, hold up. Receptive to my proposal and having overviewed some of his prior
During
work,
our lunch meeting...
he seemed competent enough. During one of our lunch meetings, I told him that I'd be interested in discussing his gratitude thesis on processor distribution with him, and it sounded fascinating. In retrospect, perhaps I should have noticed something in his body language. It did strike me as noteworthy that he touched my hands more than one might expect while making gestures to illustrate his points, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Yesterday evening, at his suggestion, I invited him to our apartment to discuss the proposal in depth. It seemed reasonable enough, or more accurately, I wanted to show off how nice our new apartment is. I haven't had any prior opportunity to do so, though. So, because of that, I went along and with his suggestion.
I see where this is going. This is a bad place.
After getting tea, I sat down on the couch to show him the proposal document I'd written up. I had to be next to him, or he wouldn't be able to see it. After a brief discussion of the general thesis, particularly as to the difficulty in discovering what safe levels of gamma radiation should be when in a closed environment, as the monk was, I decided to tell him the more radical part of my theory. Now, there's no risk of a coworker overhearing. I have a confession to make, I said to him. He seemed receptive. I actually wish to investigate a secondary theory in the bounds of this project. I hypothesize that not only does ambient radiation have a deleterious effect on fertility, but that ambient radiation is outside of safe levels, and therefore it has been a contributing factor to the Menghua's declining birth rates. Perhaps the major one, I admitted. It was certainly not something I wanted to present to the research chief without being able to provide a connection, but I was unreasonably assumed I could trust Han with it. Well, maybe we could explore that theory together, he said with in an uncomfortable manner.
Oh God!
And put his hand on my leg.
I told you this was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna go to this bad place.
It felt like he was not taking me seriously, and I protested to that effect. I'm serious. This may be premature, but I would like to eventually attempt to apply this research to investigate the birth rate problem, I said. That's dependent on our work in first proving this initial proposal, of course. I can't remember how he responded, but he moved his hand further up my leg.
Oh no!
It was inappropriate and felt uncomfortable. Please stop that, I told him. He didn't. Unable to think of what to do, I continued talking and hoped he would focus on that instead. This is the preliminary proposal I showed the chief, I told him, showing him the document. I paged through it until I found the right portion. As you can see, the highlighted section in some necessary background detail. Since you are available as an assistant now, I'd like you to... Diary writing is supposed to be cathartic, but I'm finding this difficult to write about. Maybe tea will help.
Oh God, no. Oh no, he raped her. I'm thinking that point, right now.
I was cut off mid-sentence by the insertion of his hand into my underwear. This was far beyond the point of uncomfortable.
I knew it!
I'd like you to, I started, but was interrupted by another movement. It was at this time that I realized that he would not stop on his own. I had no idea what to say. It did not seem likely to me that I could think of anything to make him stop. Please, stop, I said anyway. He didn't. And when I said that, I saw that he was staring at me. I was not able to decipher the expression, not an unusual occurrence with me, but it scared me and I looked away on reflex. I tried to figure out what I'd done to elicit this. I'm not great with most social interactions, and I considered the possibility that I had somehow signaled that this was what I wanted. Maybe it was the invitation home that triggered it. Maybe I could not figure out what I had done wrong at the time. And I'm still struggling. Finally, after enduring that for far too long, I decided I would try to pull myself away. Then I ran out of the room, out of my own home, into the corridor. Even at the time, it occurred to me to be thankful that he let me run. He could easily have overpowered me ever since I first had the thought. I am having a hard time not imagining what that would be like. It induces a sense of nausea. I would go so far as to characterize the thought as horrifying. I'd like to stop thinking about it. I hid at the office for 2 hours, pretending to be doing overtime. Nobody questioned it anyway. The thought occurred to me that I could have simply hidden in another room of my own home. The bedroom and washroom doors both lock, but it was too late then. From the office, I wrote him a message, telling him that it would be in both our best interests if we mentioned the incident to nobody. And I told the research chief that his help was unnecessary. It took many rephrasings until I had something I was satisfied with to send to Han, I ended up phrasing it as a threat. I could only hope it would be taken seriously. Realistically, I could have probably